Hey guys, this is Matt. This is the Creative Pod, and today we're talking about the All Eyes on Rafah AI generated thing that's taking over Instagram. So far, it's been shared about 45 million times, which is a huge amount. There have been other little things from the Palestinian side that have been shared too, but it all seems to be AI generated content, which normally, who cares about AI generated content? It doesn't really hurt anything. It just doesn't look too good. But in this case, a page that I follow, Saint Hoax on Instagram, kind of showed an issue that they had with what is going on right now. And I kind of want to read what they say and then go a little bit more in depth. So this comes from the first post on a 4stack. While some are cautiously sharing sanitized AI images to show solidarity with Palestinians without condemning those responsible for their massacre, U.S. politicians are proudly posting photos of themselves signing artillery shells that are being dropped on civilians in makeshift tents. So, besties, don't be afraid to step up your solidarity efforts, considering the other side has been unapologetically genocidal. So, first, I want to start. Whatever you do for a cause to kind of move things forward, I guess we're kind of call this, again, positively doing these things. Go for it. There are things that I don't believe have enough change as others. For instance, in my take right now, street protests, and this is just my take, they're not doing as much as they think they're doing. Because while you get people on the street, you get the passion, you get the real connection, person to person, that is great. You may meet a new person, a new friend, a new ally who you can talk to about whatever the cause is. But I think the main point of things right now is to get things picked up by social media. And I understand that Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, all of these platforms kind of do their own type of censorship. And that is censorship because we all lean one way or the other. And it's really going to be beholden to who owns these platforms because, again, they are platforms. We can really go into, how can we really share something when it's owned by somebody else? It's really going to be only stuck in their worldview. But I think it's what we have right now. There are going to be other things developed where we'll be able to share a little bit more in depth. And I'm thinking more on the lines of it's not as, Instagram is a great way to share things because you get an image, you get to write a caption, or you have a video, you have music. It's something that you can share. It's something that you can engage with. But what I was going to bring up is things like Telegram and WeChat, and you can have big groups on there, but it's just that little group. It's not going to be able to go outside of that group. And that's what's really necessary to share. Whether Instagram, in this case, likes it or not, the All Eyes on Rafah, I would say, is pretty net positive. Again, shared over 45 million times. It is such a great thing because I think the first thing is, sometimes when you are for a cause, and in this case, this is purely against the genocide of the Palestinian people, done in this case by Israel, and it's just the mind-blowing things that you see online, whether it's Instagram or the other social media platforms or just online in general, it's tough to see. But what's even more tough is living through it. So I'm not going to say that this is heartbreaking. I'm not going to say that this is terrible and these images. I mean, we all know exactly what's happening here, or we should. But when you can get something to take off on a platform that doesn't really allow everything to be shown, because if you are showing, let's say, the real damage being done to these people, the real murders, the real gore that's happening, those kind of things don't really trend. And that is because there is an algorithm to a certain extent that is there to keep things on that social media platform sanitary. And this is just one of the cases. It's just so that a kid looking on Instagram will not see the charred, dead corpse of somebody. That's one of them, one of the reasons. There are other reasons out there, which I mentioned earlier, because the platforms are owned by people with their own morals and ideals. The all eyes on Rafah thing, here, I'm going to show it to you. And it's what I put in the thumbnail here. That is a sanitized image. It is an AI generated image by, I believe, somebody shared it from Malaysia. And when something picks up like this, that is incredible. That is really great, and I love to see it. And through that, I was able to see who was posting it, who was not posting it, who was posting from, let's say the Israeli side. I was able to be like, there are sometimes when I feel alone in what I am going for. And in this case, because Instagram is not going to be showing you every video coming out of Palestine, you sometimes feel alone. And that's just because we're social creatures, and what else can we really do other than try to, I come from a time where it was network TV, it was cable TV, and it was only what you saw there. That is what I grew up with in the 90s and the early 2000s. Now I know that, everybody has their own kind of pod that they live in, their own kind of little bubble. And that's created because Instagram will show you what you like and what you engage with, and all of the social media platforms will do it too. The YouTube TV that I watch, I pretty much just watch the channels that I like, and that includes sports, because it's just something that I really enjoy. I'm gonna kind of stick to that. I'm not gonna go to the other channels because it's just not something that I am interested in or engage with. But I was able to see so many people share this, and I was able to be like, okay, I'm loving this, I'm liking this, I'm gonna talk to these people and engage more with them. But again, 45 million is a huge amount here. But unfortunately, we have people who, again, from my side, I don't believe protests do as much as you think, because they don't get picked up by traditional media, which you do need to engage with in the right way, and social media, North American social media. And I think it is perfectly all right that an AI image that has been completely sanitized, and we're going to say that because there's no bodies, there's no children, there's no anything on there, has been shared. I think it's great. But then you're going to go to the other side where there are US politicians signing warhead missiles on the side of Israel, and they're just blatantly putting it out there. I would also say that those images aren't picked up as much as you think they are. In their own circles, they're going to be picked up, but these are not images that are exploding on, let's say, the tentpole social media. It's just not going to get to that point too. It's going to get a lot of engagement, but a lot of negative engagement, of course positive from the people who are on that side, but it's going to be something that's not going to explode. Sure, you're going to be able to see it on your social media channels if you are against it, because it's just going to show up as something as kind of positive engagement, because it's being showed by the side that you are on as a negative against the other side. So that's just what we're going to have here. But again, a template shared 45 million times is not bad whatsoever. But I do agree that more can be done. There's always more that can be done. Right now, we live in a country, Northern America here, where we are very complacent. We are very into ourselves. We're very into just making ourselves happy. Rightfully so, because our lives are getting tougher by the moment. Of course, not as tough as people living in war zones and genocidal areas. But I mean, we're going through inflation. Not all problems can be minimized to nothing. All of our costs are going up. That means we have to work more. That means we can't divert as much attention to things that maybe matter more than others, because we just have to feed ourselves and live. But as soon as I saw this again, as I saw this AI generated image, I kind of was reminded to go look at the pages that share the content that cannot be shared and be picked up by general media sources. So I started sharing those as well. And accounts that I follow but really haven't engaged with for a long time, I was looking at the posts surrounding that one tentpole post, and they were posting a lot of text, because text can be picked up, but a lot of images. And these are kind of, let's call them maybe censored images in some cases, but non-censored images in other cases. And so people who are on this trend and kind of digging more deep in this trend, you are able to get a little bit deeper in. And I think this is one of the best springboards, because this is what you need in any case whatsoever. You need that springboard to continue your fight, your progression, or others to feel a little bit more capable that they are doing something. Now, social media, putting on social media is not gonna do anything if that's all it is. But I would have to say it is great that they have something going on like this. So let's look a little bit more, because I didn't read the entire post. Who didn't? The next picture is a close-up of Nikki Haley's message on an Israeli bomb. And here we go. Here we're going to come to the other side. But remember, this is 3 posts in, when it's purely going to be the first post that's going to get the most engagement. That being said, I'm well aware of the graphic content. That graphic content is more likely to be taken down or censored. And for that reason, the All Eyes on Rafah template has become a more palatable way to shed light on Gaza. This is going to be something I'm going to be going into in its own separate series. The wording that you use is very telling for what you choose to do. Newspaper headlines, news headlines, commercials, politicians speak, all of that. More palatable way, I would say in this case, an easier way to share something to shed the light on Gaza. Well, the image has been shared over 40 million times and helps spread the word. It would be much more effective if it were followed up with a statistic, infographic, or fundraiser to contextualize the severity of this genocide. This was something that was posted pretty recently, 30 minutes ago. I've been looking at this post, this tentpole post, for over 24 hours, and a majority of the time it has been shared with something relating to Gaza, to Rafah, to Palestinians. So I think this is one of these cases where they didn't do as much research, or maybe that's just not what they saw, because we all see something different. This AI image, when shared alone, is reminiscent of the black squares that flooded our timeline during the BLM protests, the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020. Though well-intentioned, it ends up overshadowing Palestinian journalists and activists who are deeply engaged in the work. And for this one, I disagree. I disagree completely with this. I think that this is a springboard to kind of help you engage, because you know what, with this template, and this may be different from the BLM black square because you weren't tagging anybody else, so you couldn't really find anything. If you click on add yours or view more, you're able to see the other people that shared this. 45 million people in general too. But this is going to be picked up by the people sharing what matters a little bit more, and I think it's going to help in the long run. It's going to connect you with other people, like-minded people. It's going to connect you with the other content creators that are in this war zone, in this genocidal area in Gaza. This is not a judgment on those who shared this image, just an observation on how we can maximize awareness. I see that. I certainly do see that, and maybe the way that I'm even talking about this is not the most effective, but there is not going to be one purely effective way. So while this is not how I would have done a post like this is another way where we've gotten 30,000 likes on this post, much more engagement, but I med sure to put a put my own comment on it, because why not? Don't downplay a great idea. This is leading to others posting more. And the last slide is somebody speaking on the attacks in Gaza. And this is really all stemming upon the attacks that were labeled as a mistake, come on now, from the Israeli government as bombs were dropped on tent refugees in Rafah, which is purely disgusting. Extremely disgusting. But anything to get the word out, even an overly sanitized image. I mean, there's a reason why the most sanitized media, movies, TV show, and music get out there the most, and that's why some with secret meanings are just another way to get your message out there. I firmly agree that this is something that you should engage with, something that you should use yourself, because I remember early on when Sean King was sharing these horrific images, it hurt and it made me feel right down to my bones and my soul. And Instagram and other platforms saw that as a way to get him off the platform. So if somebody and something like that causes that voice to be removed, let's try again in a different way. We can try again as many times as possible. It just has to work firmly once. And I feel like this is one of those times. This came from like a nobody account. Not saying that they're a nobody, but this is like not somebody in Palestine. This is not somebody in the US. This is somebody in Malaysia who, as far as I can tell, is just a photographer. And they shared this and it just got picked up because it was something that we needed to see right now. I think it works. I think it's great. But I kind of agree. Let's do more. All right, guys. If you have any comments or questions, put it in the comment section below. Don't forget, I'm on many different social media platforms, but this was just a pure message that I had to get out today. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you next time.